So today is the first anniversary of the first case of COVID-19 in the United States. If I remember my history correctly, it was somebody who had traveled to Wuhan and flown back to Seattle. Can't really blame him because at the time very little was known. But I thought I'd share a few more strategies that we should follow now in the second year of the pandemic that could save some lives and bring up some awareness to our even our social lives, if you will, and make us happier. Because January, the third Monday of January, apparently is statistically the saddest day of the year. So I thought I would shed some light on how to stay safer and perhaps be happier too. So how many pieces of advice have we learned this year? Social distancing, wearing a mask, washing our hands, staying home when you're sick. People used to go to work sick all the time. It used to drive me nuts. I do tutoring, and one time I had a client who had mucus in his nose, and he was just slurping it down his throat during the entire class, and it grossed me out. And to the point that I barfed. I went, "Arp!" and almost threw up. I couldn't even tell him why I did that. I didn't want to say it was because of his noise. I just said, I don't feel too good either. I mean, if he doesn't mind showing up to tutoring sick, I guess he wouldn't mind if I'm sick either. But that's the kind of condition people used to show up. Nowadays, it seems like you could get killed for showing up like that to work, right? So that's good. But I think there are two more pieces of advice that I notice a lot that we should follow. The first is that if you're going to wash your hands all the time, why not avoid using your hands to eat, right? I'm living in Wallace, Idaho right now, and my first day in Wallace, I took a walk along First Avenue just outside our door, and there are a lot of Italian restaurants in there, and when I looked in the window, it kind of horrified me. Aside from the fact that they aren't as diligent about social distancing, the first thing I noticed was this guy, younger than me probably, he was eating pizza with his hands. And I know most people do, but it's a very foreign concept. I haven't eaten pizza like that for at least 10 years, probably, at least. I always use utensils. I have a favorite brand of frozen pizza made by Amy's. I always use utensils. I cannot fathom eating it with my hands. For one thing, my electronic devices just get so dirty when I do that. I mean, let's take a look at my keyboard. I love it that way. I hate it. I hate the fact that oils come off of my fingers as it is, let alone actually touching some food item and then putting it on there. I practically never put my hands anywhere near my mouth these days. There's a reason humans invented utensils, right? Nobody's excited about going back 5,000 years before we had, well, I guess 10,000 years before we had any metals to use for eating utensils, right? I guess you'd have to use wood at that point, right? Nobody dreams about doing that, right? So why do you practice it? Now, the second thing is, okay, so you see, viruses don't just go into our hands, right? Our skin protects, unless you have a cut on your skin, I guess. You have to then put your hand somewhere that ingest it, or put it onto a cut, or maybe use your hands for some kind of oral, some kind of sexual behavior. You have to do that before the viruses actually get into your body, right? So stop! Okay. The second thing is that even when those viruses get into your body, we come into contact with bacteria and viruses all the time, right? How about the rest of your lifestyle that's supposed to protect you from that stuff, right? So right now, as I'm speaking, I probably have viruses, bacteria, cancer cells, and all that flowing through my body, but I consume plenty of, let's see, coconut oil and dark baking chocolate. Not right now, obviously, because I'm fasting. Let's see, niacin for detox. This is great to take before you exercise or go into a sauna. What else? Well, here's a Here's a hand sanitizer that actually contains healthy bacteria and tea tree oil. And look around my apartment. You won't see anything that has sugar or MSG in it, right? Cayenne pepper. So another thing I want people to do is this one will make you happier, especially by Monday when we have the saddest day of the year. Be more mindful about what you're doing, right? I see so many people eating all sorts of crap, you know, especially right this time of the year when people are throwing in the towel on their New Year's resolutions, and they're going like, why am I fat? I don't eat anything, right? Or people who, let's see, they spend 8 hours like surfing the internet, and they're wondering like why they're lonely, or they're overweight, or I don't mind people who eat junk. I mean, but I want you to be more mindful that the fact that you ate it, right? My mom used to be like that. She would go the whole day nibbling on all sorts of crap, and then at the end of the day she would congratulate herself that she had gone the whole day without eating. And I was living with my mom at the time. You know, if I'm going home to visit for 2 weeks, I might point that out, but I was living with her. I didn't want to cause any strife of explaining what she was eating. What was really funny was that one year, I think this would have been about 15 years ago now, she had been reading something on the internet about the dangers of some chemical in food. I can't remember what it was, MSG or trans fat or something, and she wanted to avoid it. The funny thing is, she still cheated after she knew about that chemical, whatever it was. I can't remember the exact one. But the fact that she had to think about the chemical and have to read labels and sometimes Google things, the fact that she had to do that, put a buffer in between when she was thinking about food and when she was eating, that she ate significantly less. Not just of that chemical, but of food in general, because she had to think about it. And that's what I want people to do. Ask yourself constantly, right? Do I really need to eat what I'm thinking about eating? Do I really need to surf whatever I'm surfing? I used to have a big problem with masturbating, believe it or not. And I mean, it doesn't seem like an unhealthy activity, but it would intrude on my life, right? In the middle of the workday, I go to the bathroom and I masturbate, or I'm trying to get out of a meeting to masturbate. It would just be an intrude. It would just be something that that interrupted the flow of my life and created cravings and all that. Now, lately, I still masturbate, by the way, but I'm more mindful of the fact that I'm doing it. I used to do it so many times without even thinking about it. It's especially a big problem if I can't go wash up at somewhere, right? If I'm traveling on the road, if I'm at work, and I don't have access to a shower at my workplace, that's a big problem, right? And I used to do it without even thinking about it. Like halfway through masturbating, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, right? But I want people to ask, what the fuck am I doing? Like regularly, or do I really need to be doing what I'm doing? Whether it be eating mindlessly, whether it be going to a high-risk social event, whether it be doing stuff that you know you shouldn't be doing, right? I mean, go ahead and cheat, but be mindful of the fact that you cheated and ask yourself, why, right? That's what I want people to do. Anyways, I thought I'd bring some more unconventional advice on how we can flatten the curve in the coming year. I think this will do much more wonders than the nonsense of the social distancing and all that, right? There's plenty of ways to be social and safe at the same time, right? Thanks for watching.